Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I think this is the third time I'm trying to make this video, and pardon that it's like this. It's dark outside, I'm inside, and it's I think 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. And I got home from the ER a couple hours ago, maybe. No, not a couple hours ago, about an hour ago. Yeah, once again, I was in the ER, third time in like a little over a year. Yeah. This time I have a bad infection. And the doctor saw him maybe, I wouldn't even say 10 minutes total, maybe. He did a sonogram, just done. Okay, I've never had a sonogram for an infection before. Something new, I guess. And I can sum it all up is, nah, I don't think the privilege of being in a hospital, just to go through the ER and be seen 10 minutes by a doctor that's going to charge me separate than the hospital, that the facility fee is worth something like $5,800. I really don't know the total, because I looked at it and went, I actually did. And because I'm not going to pay it. They reduced it though, because I don't have health insurance. I live in Texas, and I'm female and homemaker, and the insurance would, if I try to get it, it was something like $1,000 a month. That one that's supposed to be reduced, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get sarcastic like I was in one of them, but overall, I'm going to say this: it really, really worries me, this kind of thing. What I've been through with that doctor was actually nice, and the nurse, both nurses were nice, but I did see one of them mistreat what I don't even like the term, but little old lady. I worked with elderly people before, many times, and she was, let's say, in her 80s, could have been even 90. Now, I've worked with ages all the way up to 105. And in my past, not in a long time, but they just mistreated her, and it was so sad. They took her husband back and to the emergency room, took him in the back, and they were supposed to come out and get her. And I don't know if she could walk by herself. I think she wasn't in a wheelchair. I'm sure she could walk, but she probably needed some assistance or something. And the woman just kind of snapped at her. It was a nurse. She was nice to me. But then it was sad. I'm telling you, it was sad. And then she was basically there by herself, and I was there by myself. Adam was there, but he had walked outside for a moment. And then there was a young woman, her boyfriend was taken back. And that was it at that time, in the waiting area. And then that young one, her boyfriend, come back. And as he was coming back, that elderly woman, she started to cry. And my natural reaction is to say, "Are you okay?" It was so sad. And she said, "I'm okay," but I could tell she was just like heartbroken. And I just kind of stood there. I was actually seated around the side from there, but I just kind of stood there and kind of watched. I tried to act like I wasn't watching her, but I was worried for her, really. And like I said, I've worked with plenty, and the way they treated her, that was so wrong. It was so wrong. And then the rest of the time, this is an ER, and that nurse, it says something weird to me, like that I'm lucky that they allowed me to come in, because they weren't allowing any people to come through in ambulances. They were just allowing walk-ins to come in. That's got to change. That whole mentality, really. And then to treat her like that, and there was hardly anybody ever up front. There was a police officer there for a while behind the whatever you would call it. And hardly anybody else ever up there. And I walked in and said my blood pressure is really high. And I think I got triage about somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour later. High blood pressure, really high. When I left, it was 211 over 100 from my home. And yeah, there's so much that just went wrong. I mean, they were nice, but it was wrong. They weren't nice to that woman, that elderly woman. No. And apparently there was a guy must have come in, because the police officer, he was there before me. The guy, the patient, he was a young guy, and his brother. And because he said he was his brother, but they had come in before me, so I didn't know how long they'd been there. But that one of them, he just got up out of his chair right after I sat down in mine. I was like kind of facing them in a way, from their side, the way the chairs were, And he just got up and laid flat on the floor, and the police officer obviously would have known more than I about what was going on, and he said something like heat stroke, or heat exhaustion. It was a police officer. Where was, I don't know. I don't know where anybody else was. I never saw them except when they checked in. A couple new ones checked in and they left and went back, and there was not even a police officer up there at that time. So people walking in the ER, nobody's there except for the patient. I'm trying not to be sarcastic, but this kind of stuff, oh my goodness. $5,800. You should have heard me, and I know the guy he was a young man. He's probably heard a million times before. So I know he knows what he's supposed to say. I'm not naive. I am definitely not naive to all this kind of stuff. And yeah, he had me have to sign all this stuff, and then they tell you how much it's going to be. Like I think I've already said. I've said this third time I'm trying to make the video. And he and I had a really long conversation. Because of the conversation, he came out, and I told him, I said, yeah, I know, I'm well aware of that, because I am a sociologist. And I said, I taught at college and university. He kind of looked at me, and we had a good conversation, but like I said, he's probably trained on how to talk and what to say and all that stuff. So that kind of takes away from, do you trust what they say, and that they're being nice? And like the doctor, who seemed nice, but some things were not appropriate. And that to me, of telling people after they sign how much it is, that I think that's inappropriate too. And especially since they've to and asked, to speak, this and that. Yeah. So, but I'm not naive to this. I know this is how it goes. I mean, in the sense that it shouldn't be, but it does. I am definitely not naive to it. I'm also know that they have, because I did this before myself. I was one to help people who didn't have health insurance, and with these high costs and all that. And I know how that goes and how it should go, but I also know that it didn't go. It hasn't gone like that. Because they told me that this is what they do, and the last time, and for somebody without any health insurance, that's not what I went through. And it's just, and I'm worried. I worry about so much going on lately. Where too many people that I've run across, and I'm just going to say that I run across. That doesn't mean you would. Doesn't mean anybody else would. I doubt we're going to run across the same people ever, because you weren't there, in any of the situations. But too many, I see too many who are just like that young couple that laughed when I asked the elderly woman if she's okay. And then I turned and looked at them, and they were being inappropriate about the whole situation. About me, about the, elderly woman. So, and I'm not trying to say any of those age groups would mind the elderly woman. The younger couple would, everybody would do that. I don't think in those terms. No all or none. Dichotomous polar thinking. No. But that kind of mentality, not mentality, but really attitude, like if somebody shows compassion and empathy, we're going to laugh at it. That is sickening. That says a lot more about them, though. But I really felt so sorry for her. She was all by herself sitting there, and they were supposed to come and get her. And then I was there long enough, like the doctor said, I think it was an hour and a half, 2 hours, just waiting outside in the waiting room when there was only that many at that time. Anyway, but where was I going? My head is starting to pound again. While, like he said that, okay, about how long I was there. Well, I was out there in the waiting area, in the ER to be brought back there, and so I got to see what they actually did for that elderly woman. That they told her, well, he's back there. That woman, that nurse. It was nice to me, not to her. Well, he's back in the room. And she said, and she mumbled. I could understand what she was saying. It's basically, but they were supposed to come and get me so I could go back there. And that nurse said, well, I'll go back there and see. Just rude. I mean, what? And she went back there. She never, ever come and got that elderly woman. Never. While I was there. And when I left from there, she was still there, that I recall. But they put me back and all that. I mean, it was just, it brings tears to my eyes. This is how people want to treat the elderly? Okay, that's generalization. It was one situation. That was one situation. I've been through many. I worked with elderly people, like I said. That cold attitude. It's just sickening. It was sad. It really was. I mean, it must have been her husband, I would imagine. It's her husband, or it could have been her brother or friend, whatever, but in the 80s or 90s. And she's at an ER all by herself all of a sudden, and she wants to go back with her, let's say husband, and they're treating her like that. It's just sickening. It is. And no, yeah, that's what I see. That's what I tend to see, really. Anyway, this went on longer than I thought I would go on. And this one, the first one that I try to make, I saw the actual red dot, but I think somehow it just went to photo. But I actually saw the recording dot. So I don't know. But now that I'm looking at it right now, it's not showing that. It's a different phone. But anyway, I don't know. I'm so disgusted with what I see these days. And that's not all. I just saw my own doctor a couple weeks ago. I didn't see the doctor. I've never been able to see the doctor. I don't know. It was the 4th place I've been to for them. 3rd or 4th. In less than a year. Never get to see the doctor. I don't understand that. You do know I'm not naive, right? So I fired them. After, especially when I told the one that I spoke to, which still don't know what she is. I think PA. And I told her I don't want to know the results of that right now. And I didn't want to know the results. I told her that I was lately having some anxiety. She told me them anyway. And I never heard of what she was talking about before. So then finally when she stopped talking, she really didn't want me to say anything. You know, like many of them do, you are not allowed to speak. It's all provider-centered instead of what it's supposed to be is patient-centered. Oh, I'm very educated. But then I said, did you really just tell me what I told you I did not want you to tell me? And I said that very straightforward. I did not want you to tell me that. She says, well, yes, I told you because any good provider. I fired him. I fired that whole team because that wasn't it. That wasn't all. Yeah, it wasn't all. When I walked in and sat down, I was the only patient there. It was real early, and the front desk clerk was talking about her symptoms. She didn't have any face covering on, so her voice was pretty clear. You know what I mean? I had a face covering on myself. I'm in a doctor's office. Well, the third one that they've moved to. Third or fourth, I don't know. Boy, am I sounding sarcastic. But this is not all. I am shaking my head, literally shaking my head on this. Because this has been ridiculous. I'm not a healthcare professional provider myself. But something tells me that's just wrong. All of it. It's just wrong. And there's nothing telling me this. I know this. Anyway, I think I'll wrap this up. I said already it was long, but trust me, there's much more to it. And I know my voice sounds very sarcastic. But remember when I said that about pressure release valve? This is my pressure release valve. I've made plenty of videos that I never made public for pressure release valve, but this one I will. It probably won't get noticed. It probably won't, not noticed, but probably won't get watched because the AI hates me. It just does. I couldn't even upload videos for the past couple of days, and I was going to upload them and actually make them public, but yeah, today, well, it was a day and a half or so, something like that, or maybe 2 days, I don't know, but because they were having problems or something with it, I don't know, but I tend to make videos and not make them public. Anyway, pressure release valve, and believe me, when I see things like that, when I see things like, just, what happened to, really, what happened to people? Where I live, where I am, not everybody. I can't even say where I live, although it's thick here. But just what I wind up seeing. It's that something, by the way, it's called, when it happens to me, I'm well aware of it, it's actually called the second eye. Not the third eye, but the second eye. And I learned that many years ago. I think could have been an undergraduate or graduate student in sociology, in a sociology class, and I never have been able to find it. Like I said, it's not the third eye, but it's called the second eye. And it was, I believe they were a married couple, and they were, they wrote books together. They were sociologists. I think both of them were sociologists. And I can't remember their names, can't remember the name of the book, and I thought it was The Second Eye. But it may have been that one of them did it with somebody else, did that book, that research. But it was basically that people who have been mistreated, such as because of a disability or a difference, as I put it, they know when it can be a difference. It has nothing that could be, it could be racism, it could be sexism, it could be ageism, it could be ableism, it could be something, these negative isms, as I call them, but they know why they're being treated that way. It's not them making it up. There are people, there are exceptions to the rule, but some people can be paranoid, but some, they actually have seen it enough, they know it. When people have a poker face, yet they're mistreating them. Now, the person that has the poker face is mistreating the person that is different than the way that, that person who's treating them feels is different. So, this is a lot longer than I expected. I can't believe I did all this in one clip, too. So, you know what? This time, I think I'll wrap it up. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.